and welcome to this week's Climate Dispatch. Johanna Miller, Vermont Natural Resources Council, joined by my colleague Dan Fingus, Vermont Conservation Voters, and glad to have Representative Laura Sibilia, who is the ranking member on the House Energy and Digital Infrastructure Committee. We've been keeping you abreast about what's happening and what's not this legislative session. This week, Representative Sibilia, her committee have been hearing a lot of testimony on H289, which we've also been letting you all know about, which at its core is pretty much a rollback and gutting of some core climate and energy provisions, including the Global Warming Solutions Act, which has been a core priority for us, and a policy that Representative Sibilia really drove into fruition, which is a really essential framework for ensuring that Vermont does its part to cut planet warming pollution while also ensuring, which is really critical to you, Representative Sibilia, I know, and I very much appreciate, that everyone can benefit from and access the clean energy economy. So I want to turn it over to Representative Sibilia to tell you a little bit about what they've been hearing there and her commitment, and ideally the legislature's commitment to holding strong. But before that, really exciting that the first energy and climate bill of the session that Representative Sibilia championed, H125, which is a bill about reporting on the energy transition, getting the information that we need to make informed decisions to ensure, again, that no one is left behind as the global economy moves towards clean energy. Yeah. So you've really been a leader in that, Representative Sibilia. Yeah. So glad to have that vote on the floor. Yeah. But I want to hear a little bit more about what's at the core of that bill and why you sponsored it.
Yeah, similar to the Global Warming Solutions Act, we know that climate change is happening, that the global economy is shifting in response to climate change and the energy transition. And we need to understand, in Vermont, we have various different utilities, we have different town rules for siting and zoning, and different economies throughout the state where it makes sense to maybe have a gas station, or there are enough people to support multiple fossil fuel dealers. And what we know that happens in rural economies, you don't really have the ability to have market regulation. There's just not enough people. And so when we're thinking about an industry sector that's in transition, like fossil fuels are, if you are not monitoring what's going on there, you can end up with some situation where we have a lot less competition, which is going to jeopardize quality, it's going to jeopardize price, it's going to jeopardize access. And I've seen this in other work that I've done on telecommunications. This can really create public safety issues in our most rural and poor parts of the state. And so this bill is actually really simple. It was really important to our chair to work with the administration as much as we could on our first kind of bill out of the gate. And we did. It uses existing data. It asks the Agency of Natural Resources to talk with a number of different agencies about the data they already collect. How many gas stations are there? How much fossil fuel cells do we have on an annual basis? How many homes are we weatherizing and where? And to bring that data together in one place, which we would want the administration to do, to assess how that transition is going throughout the state, and to see if we have places throughout the state that are right now experiencing an affordability issue with the energy transition, or are in threat of facing an affordability issue because of a lack of competition or consolidation within different industries. So I'm really excited about it. I'm glad we got it across the line.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And 289?
289. 289. Again, we really would like to work with the administration. The Global Warming Solutions Act is foundational. It is foundational to Vermont's climate work. And some of the activities that were being proposed in there are really, they're just not things that we can consider. They're
thankfully grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, so in here we have set our emissions goals as requirements. That is really important, and I always argue with you a little bit about this, Joey. I mean, whether it's because we have to make sure we're doing our part on emissions reductions, which is your point that you always make to me, or because we've got to make sure our economy is changing at the same pace or at a similar pace to other states and countries, which is my point. Both of those points together, emissions reduction is the measure that is driving that. And so this Global Warming Solutions Act puts those requirements in, requires us to keep moving forward, and has a climate council. The thing that is so important about that climate council is it's not political, right? We've got the administration coming in, we've got the fuel dealers at the table, we've got environmental advocates at the table, we've got scientists and engineers. They're not developing a plan for implementation. They are saying, here's how we can do it. Here are the ideas. And then turning that back over to the administration for them to work through an implementation plan. So 289 looks at really dramatically undercutting the Climate Council, which does not, I don't understand why we would remove expertise from these urgent conversations. And it looks at making our requirements goals not goals. Yes, it does. Yeah. Goals. Yeah. Things we aspire to. And so those are really problematic. So we want to find ways to work with the governor. We want to be partners in moving forward on these things, but those issues are no-goes.
Well, thank you so much for your leadership in the Energy and Digital Infrastructure Committee, making sure that bad things like H289 do not come out of that committee, and we're not doing harm to the state at the time while Trump and the administration on the federal level is doing real harm to our country. And thank you for also pushing positive, thoughtful bills like H125. For folks who are at home and trying to figure out how did my representative or senator vote on certain things, our Vermont Conservation Voters Scorecard is now live. We have a floor vote from the Senate from a few weeks ago. Now in the House we have H125. You can go check out how your representative voted. If they voted in a great way, please give them a call and thank them for this vote. Thank them for continuing to move forward on important energy policy, collecting the data that we need. And if they voted no, why don't you send them an email and ask them why? What's the reason why you would vote no on this really important, meaningful data bill? So that's it for us this week. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day. Thank you for being with us.